tonight packed out with Vandals fans and Boise State Broncos fans. It is a much anticipated, long-awaited return of this in-state rivalry from beautiful downtown Boise, Idaho, the state capital of the Gem State. We take a look at the series history between these two teams. They played a lot over the years at the Big Sky Conference and into the WAC, but finally, after a drought of playing between now and 2014, we finally see them on the hardwood tonight. 9 regular season titles for the Vandals to Boise State 7. It is interesting the competition between these two over the years, culminating with a matchup tonight in 2025. Head-to-head too. Boise State with a narrow advantage there, 19 victories over the Vandals. With that behind us, we welcome you courtside, everybody. Great to have you with us on behalf of our entire crew, alongside the 2-time national champion Angela Taylor and former WNBA GM. Angela, it's safe to say, as we were looking at that graphic there, it's a bit of a cold war between these two, right? Ironically, it's a battle on the hardwood that gets us back going tonight.
You gotta love rivalries, and after that 11-year drought, this exhibition game is a prelude to a new era in Bronco basketball for fans, players, and coaches. It's the post-Tyson Degenhart era. And there's a lot of familiar faces, 9 returning players, familiar faces with new roles on the season, but the culture remains the same and the goals remain the same for this Bronco squad. That is to win the Mountain West Conference and get into the NCAA tournament. And for Idaho, this is the 3rd year for Coach Alex Pribble. He's done a phenomenal job. Year 1 was all about culture. Year 2 was building on that offensive system. They shot a school record 308 threes on the season, and this year they added a lot of length and size from their front court, from the portal and from the freshman class.
I believe we got to look now at our players to watch. Let's start with Idaho, a team that won 14 games a year ago. A big reason why was the Colorado State transfer, Jack Payne. He is returning back to play in front of his home fans tonight. Angela's coach called him the mayor of Idaho. This guy's pumped to play in this game.
But definitely the mayor of Idaho in the Treasure Valley. For Jack Payne will be the back of this increased size. He's going to benefit a lot from the increased size from the Vandal squad. He's a versatile player who fills up the shot clock and the shot sheet, 10 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, capable of filling it up from the 3-point line, and really good with his back to the basket. This year, he's going to play a little bit more on the perimeter at the 3 spot, so he's going to have to defend smaller, quicker perimeter players and be defended by some quicker perimeter players. And one of those is Andrew Meadow, forward from Boise State. The coaches love to call him a basketball savant. He's a basketball cyborg because of his relentless commitment to working out in the gym and on the court and getting better every season. His leap between his freshman year and his sophomore year from 3 points to 10 points per game. If he has a similar length this year, he's going to put a lot of his imprints on the success that this Bronco squad has.
No doubt about it. Andrew Meadow, there 570 career points. Plus, as you see on your screen, took a big step forward last year, like Angela mentioned, made 30,000 shots in the offseason. We'll see how that translates tonight. Well, we're very much looking forward to bringing these games. Boise State and Idaho, an exhibition that we wouldn't have seen in years past. Here there are the Vandals and the Broncos ready to go tonight from downtown Boise in Idaho Central Arena. It's the Broncos, it's the Vandals, and it's next. Boise State and Idaho fans are pumped to see this rivalry back. It's been 11 long years, but Angela, these two teams are ready to finally get the ball jumped at center court as we have our starting lineups for both teams. Anything stand out when you see those 10 on the floor?
One of the things that Coach Pribble talked to us about was their intention to increase the size that they have on the floor at any given moment in order to be able to match up against this Bronco squad. So you take a look at Jack Payne, who played the 4 last season. Now he's moving to the 3, which will be a challenge for him, but I think he's up for the opportunity by adding a couple players, Pico Johnson, to that starting lineup, as well as Brody Roberry will help with that size.
How about the true freshman, A.G. Neto, starting at the point for Boise State? This is the earliest game in Boise State basketball program history. It is new, thanks to an exhibition rule that allows fans to see these games. We are glad that you're seeing it wherever you're watching tonight. Michael Irving, our referee, with the basketball. Dominic Carolyn set to battle at center court with Jack Payne. The ball in the air, we are underway. The Broncos and Vandals, Cold War of a rivalry is over. Jackson Rasmussen with the basketball to start for the Vandals. 74 points per game under Alex Pribble. As Angela noted, they like to shoot a ton of threes. This is Biko Johnson into the paint.
The floor spacing is going to be key for Idaho.
Back to the basket is Brody Robery, the transfer from southeastern Louisiana. Colton Mitchell, the point guard. Everything runs through them on their offense. Start out 0 for 1 from that three-point line that they love.
Solid defensive possession from the Broncos right there. Did a great job closing out on the three-point shooters. A.G.
Neto, as we mentioned, starting at the point. Broncos replacing Alvaro Cardenas, playing professionally in Spain after graduating. Dominic Parolin into the paint. Lost it, gets it back. Shot clock down to 10.
Great help side by the Vandals.
You see their 420-win season in a row for Boise State last year. They won 26 games. Sixth man of the year a year ago. Javen Buchanan starts out with a miss. Parolin another board. Oh, for his first two to start. The Lehigh transfer settles it down.
You see one of the things that Parolin brings to this squad. Really aggressive on the offensive glass.
Brody Robery the steal. Half a steal for him at Southeastern Louisiana last year. Colton Mitchell. Alex Pribble called him the head of the snake for this team, running the offense from the point. Jack Payne from Owyhee High School right up the road. Biko Johnson off the mark. Both teams still struggling to find the bottom of the basket thus far.
But that's a look that the Vandals want. They want to take a lot of threes.
Andrew Meadow working on Biko Johnson. 12.5 points per game for Meadow. Very well could figure to be a part of that All-Mountain West preseason team when it is released next week. First whistle of the ball game called on Boise State's R.J. Keenan is foul number 1 on the Broncos. Less than 2 minutes behind us.
Meadow didn't finish that shot, but it was a nice turnaround fade on the low block, and that's one of the things that he's able to do. You see the physical presence. Spends so much time in the weight room on his body, and has the ability to be able to take a lot of contact and still be able to finish.
Michael Irving, as we mentioned, our referee, Kevin Brill, and Ian Caldwell round out our crew. Exhibition basketball for everybody. Everybody needs to get back to form. We're here in mid-October. As Leon Rice said, Maui is coming quickly for this group. They'll be playing games that are really important here very shortly.
Yeah, it's the best time of the year. You want to be able to match up against somebody else. You're sick of playing and competing in practice against the same old players over and over. So this is a nice mid-October matchup. Both
of these teams have been practicing for the better part of 2 months. NCAA has really altered the rules. This game is being played tonight in front of fans because of that.
I love the fact that we're starting to see more teams play these exhibition games.
Jackson Rasmussen, another local product, a team full of Idahoans, as Alex Pribble describes. Turned it over there. Boise State in the half-court offense. Into the post, Javen Buchanan lost the handle. Out of bounds, it's off of Boise State. And the slugfest continues offensively.
Right, and you know, typically at this time of the year, defenses are always ahead of the offenses. As offensive systems are getting used to playing with each other, finding out where each other's spots are on the floor.
First matchup since 2014. They met every year from 1971 to 2014. The stalemate is over in this rivalry.
Great help side.
Andrew Meadow with steal. A jump ball called for the first time tonight. Possession arrow pointing the way of Boise State.
You see Boise State defensively over the last few years, they have been exceptional. One of the top defensive squads in the Mountain West Conference. Already you start to see the team defense that they're playing. They're on a string, great communication, and great help side from the post players.
Boise State very excited about the players that they picked up in the offseason. One of them would be running the point right now, Dylan Andrews, the transfer from UCLA. He is currently on the bench, not dressed out tonight, so we do see the true freshman Neto run the show. Buchanan into the paint, he's stifled, and Rasmussen picks up the ball. Vandals interior defense holding Boise State 0 for its first 3. Colton Mitchell off the mark. They'll follow in the finish. Mitchell follows his shot.
And there you see why Mitchell is the head of the snake. Just the energy and the effort on both ends of the floor. Great job following up his missed shot.
A.G. Neto and one. A true freshman from Angola. His first career basket in a Bronco uniform, and he'll be looking for more at the line.
Got the crowd up off their seats already. Anything that you can do, I can do better is what A.G. said on that particular play. Great paint attack off the dribble. It's one of the things that A.G. Neto is going to bring to this Bronco squad this year. And then the ability to finish, that is not a small guy there in Robery that you're going up against and finishing for 3.
First career free throw goes. He's all the way from Angola. He played at the NBA Africa Academy. Assistant coach Tim Duryea told us he's been a great surprise, defends the point of attack. As you saw there, Angela touches the paint extremely well.
Really impressed with NATO thus far, and that NBA Africa program is phenomenal. It's been going on for a couple of decades. We've seen a lot of talent come out of that program.
Rasmussen drops his first career college bucket in. Coach Alex Gribble said he's in the J.B. Buchanan mold as a 6'7" scorer.
Yeah, if we talk about talent, Jackson Rasmussen oozes with talent. In high school, was such a dominant player. Many people here in the Treasure Valley are going to be familiar with this face. And already, as a freshman in the starting lineup for University of Idaho, he's going to have a bright career to follow.
Played at Utah Prep with #1 overall recruit A.J. DeBinso, who's going to be putting up, 20 a game maybe for BYU next month.
Talent attracts talent, so great players love to play with other great players.
J.B. Buchanan, don't be surprised if you see him on the first team All Mountain West in the preseason poll next week. Off the mark on his second shot. R.J. Keene picking up right where he left off last year, doing the dirty work.
And that's what you love about having R.J. Keene in this lineup. He does all the little things that really matter when you're trying to win ball games.
A 6'7" guard, nearly 5 rebounds a game. Unbelievable.
And look for him to take a leap offensively this year. Shooting the ball with a lot of confidence is R.J. Keene.
Knocked out of bounds off the Broncos, so that will take us to our first stoppage of the night. Both teams still figuring each other out. It's an exhibition game for everybody. They'll get used to it. 4-5 as we break for the first time tonight. Well, a lot has changed since the last time that these two teams played. This was prior to the unlimited transfer era. This is prior to the NIL era. And Angela, we talked to both coaching staffs this week. Alex Gribble told us this is a team full of guys who aren't necessarily getting those big paychecks, right? They are playing for the Vandals because they want to play and represent Idaho. Boise State, on the other side, athletics director Jeremiah Dickey has fully embraced the NIL era. They are paying players and increasing their ability in that. It's kind of a contrast in styles tonight, right? As Jack Payne knocks that three down. But you're not going to see that have any impact on what we're seeing on the floor tonight. Both of these teams want this win desperately.
There's a lot of familiarity between these two teams as well. Some of these players grew up playing with and against each other in the schoolyards. And so when you put the uniform on, it doesn't matter what the NIL situation is. You come to compete.
Andrew Meadow on the flush, and we are tied at a touchdown and an extra point apiece. Well, a lot of Bronco fans back in the building tonight in anticipation of that football game tomorrow.
A lot of orange and blue, as well as some solid Idaho fans here as well. And we start to see the marquee players, Jack Payne and Andrew Meadow, stepping up already. A
long rebound chased out. Both teams ready to make changes. Leon Rice will make a wholesale change with 5 different players subbing in at the next dead ball. Jack Payne, his head coach called him the mayor of Idaho. This guy is just so beloved up in Moscow.
Great to see him come back from Colorado State and make the commitment to the program at the University of Idaho, as they are building it a little bit different than Boise State. 2
seasons at Colorado State, didn't really get off the bench. He has found a great home for the Vandals.
A perfect cultural fit for the Vandals, as is Andrew Keene.
Andrew Meadow fouled for the first time, getting to the free throw line. And Boise State will make those changes.
Yeah, apologies about that, but Meadow, so impressed last year with what you saw. His freshman year, played about 10 minutes a game, and was strictly a three-point shooter, was hunting three-point shots his freshman year. Last year, a lot of the opponents were going to run him off that three-point line, and he was ready for it, attacked the basket with reckless abandon, so physical at the point of contact and finish. And one of the things that the coaching staff has really charged and challenged him with this year is now going to be more of a playmaker. How do you play off of that ability that you know you're going to have a lot of opponents' eyeballs on you? So how do you make sure you make your teammates better?
There's a look at Leon Rice, 16th season. Loved playing and coaching at Boise State. He said he had his eyes on this place because of what football did. Angela, he has helped grow this program into something really special of its own. Talented rosters year in and year out, and another top 50 team in the preseason.
And one thing that speaks volumes about the caliber of human being Coach Rice is his coaching staff. There are so many former Broncos players that are choosing to come back and be part of his staff.
Bronco defense not where Coach Rice would like it to be right now. Idaho makes a 3rd straight bucket. And Julian Bowie is subbed in, the true freshman Bob Wong from distance.
Baum provides a lot of length on the perimeter. Today in shoot-around was lighted up from the three-point line as well, a very confident scorer.
From Lincoln, Nebraska, Linkier Academy. Spencer Aarons, another true freshman, checking in, putting pressure on the ball, and Colton Mitchell. Seth Joba has subbed in for the Vandals as well. Christian Gonzalez, the team's leading scorer from a year ago, can't find the mark. And another transfer that Boise State loves, Drew Fielder, coming over from Georgetown, scoops up the board.
And Fielder brings a lot of great size in the front court.
He can shoot it too. Drew Fielder from distance.
One of the things that the Broncos wanted to do in the offseason was improve their perimeter spacing, their ability to shoot the three. And we're seeing a lot of different players with length being able to face up, take and make some threes.
7 points, 5 rebounds a game at Georgetown in the Big East last year. Jackson Rasmussen, another board. True freshman playing in his first collegiate game. Off the mark on the hook, and the Canadian Spencer Aarons, one of Boise State's biggest recruits on the board. 4-point Bronco lead, largest of the night. Peanut Carmichael back for his sophomore year. Thought he threw contact, it's out of bounds, and it's off of Boise State.
One of the things that the Vandals know is that you cannot leave Peanut Carmichael open at the three-point line, so they are fighting to get over those on-ball screens, not allowing him to be able to set up at the three-point line. Looked a little physical right there. That could easily have been called a foul in that play, but a turnover, and the Vandals got it going their way.
Colton Mitchell, his coaching staff said that he would have been the freshman of the year if he were eligible last year. Played sparingly with Idaho State up the road at Pocatello, found a great home. Playing for the Vandals in black and gold.
It is a great extension of the coaching staff, the floor general on the court, a vocal leader, and both offensively and defensively at the point of attack, very aggressive.
Peanut Carmichael, like we mentioned, the only other change, Julian Bowie with a basketball in his hand. It's been an emotional week for him. He lost his father. They honored him in a pregame moment of silence. Works in the block with Drew Fielder, and the Broncos going to the line. It's really encouraging to see Julian Bowie out there. You know that young man is going through a lot. Of course, the Vandal family is as well. It's on Munson passing away recently. And a very nice gesture by the Idaho Central Arena to honor both sides of this rivalry with their recent losses.
It was a lovely gesture for both programs. When you think about Lambert, Bo Bowie, a wonderful human being. He went to high school with me in Mountain Home, the metropolis of Mountain Home, a wonderful human being, and I know that this is a really difficult time for Julian, but basketball is the place that you can go,
totally
be with your teammates and your friends, and that is something that both Lambert and Julian shared.
Drew Fielder at the free throw line, 72% last year at Georgetown. I would certainly wish the Bowie family well. There is a GoFundMe that has been publicized. You can find it via your internet search engine of choice if you feel led to donate to that.
And now Boise State with this defensive length, doing a little three-quarter token pressure.
Colton Mitchell going to work all the way from Coeur d'Alene, Lake City High School. But Christian Gonzalez, coach said he's an unsung hero in a group full of Idahoans. Guy from Chula Vista, California, their leading scorer last year. And a late shot clock foul for Boise State. Leon Rice will not be happy with that when he sees it in film review this year.
Yeah, you don't want that. The good defensive possession. The shot clock was waning a little bit. Good ball game so far. Boise State up 6 as we head to the middle of the first half. Good basketball being played by both teams.
Well, 4-point game here in Boise, and a little salt in the wound for the Vandal fans that have made the trip out tonight. 1993-94 Big Sky champions honored tonight. That 93 team went up to Moscow and beat the Vandals head-to-head in the Big Sky tournament.
Well, you know, Boise State, since you're hosting this, right, you definitely have to pour a little salt in the wound. But that squad looked like they were ready to come back out and scrimmage, all comers.
They absolutely did. Two teams. We're doing a rivalry tonight. It was a rivalry that used to be a lot more vitriolic, right? I mean, these rivalries were intense. Leon Rice told us as much. Alex Pribble said he hadn't really researched the rivalry as much until he got it on the schedule. Drew Fielder from distance, the guy who really wants to improve that number of 25 three-pointers made last year.
Yeah, Fielder, just you can tell the versatility that the Broncos have on this squad, particularly in the front court, the ability to face up and make it.
Travis Blassingame right to the 10. A six-man. Coach Pribble said he's in the R.J. Keene mold for his team this year.
Great paint attack by Travis Blassingame.
Julian Bowie off the mark. And a rebound for Vico Johnson. Biggest addition to the backcourt. Started his career in Nebraska, Omaha, stopped at Fort Lewis Community College to boot. 16 points a game at the community college level. And he took an extra step there and turns the basketball over.
Well, the point of attack defense by the Broncos has been exceptional here in the first half thus far. Started out with that on-ball pressure by I.G. Neto, and now with Julian Bowie. That again is going to set the tone defensively for the Broncos squad.
An Idaho rivalry renewed. Boise State and the Vandals getting it going tonight. Javen Buchanan running the offense.
Really excited to see Buchanan in year 2 in the orange and blue.
Wow, Drew Fielder showing you that full post arsenal coming off the bench tonight. And scored 8 early points.
You can tell Fielder's going to be a crowd favorite. The ability to face up from the three-point line or to take his defenders, smaller post players down to the block.
Already 8 points and 1 board for Fielder. Beautiful backdoor find, and Vico Johnson lays it right in.
And that's where the spacing for the Vandals is going to work out. They had 5 out on the offensive system, all at the three-point line, leaving it wide open for some backdoor cuts.
An offensive foul. That'll be Idaho basketball. They sub in Jackson Rasmussen and Colton Mitchell once again.
When you see that offensive foul, again, a lot of that's going to happen early on in preseason as players are working on their timing, on their cuts, the communication on those screens. You want your guards to be a little bit more patient before they start to cut off that backdoor cut so the post player can get their feet set.
Such a young core for the Vandals, too. Really exciting for this group to think about their possible ceiling. Coach Alex Fribble told us this is a group that Vandal fans can really get behind because these guys are easy to root for. Very high team GPA, obviously very high success on the court. They won 14 games last year. And working to the corner here, and Jackson Rasmussen is stepping on the baseline.
When we talk about culture, it is so important. And in that first year, getting the right guys on your squad. So when you're going into the transfer portal or when you're going out and recruiting high school players and making sure that it's not just the best players, but it's a great player who also fits your culture. And you can start to see that this Vandal squad, they get along, they have a lot of energy, they put a lot of time in the gym and off the court with each other.
A.G. Neto gives it up. Fielder again off the pump fake. 3 for 3 from outside. The hometown kid putting on a show for the local fans.
You gotta love that. Great job. Defender comes flying out on him. He's hit 2 threes already. Just a nice subtle pump fake. Sidestep for 3.
Born and raised in Boise, Idaho. Left for about 5 years, but he has returned in a big way. Wearing the blue and orange. Colton Mitchell, though. Great interior defense there by Fielder. A.G. Neto. Shuffle step, and he lost the basketball.
You see the Broncos want to be really judicious in transition. When there's an opportunity and they have the numbers in transition, they will take advantage of that. Otherwise, they'll take their time to set up their half-court offense.
And Boise State to throw it in. Talking a little more about Drew Fielder, he actually committed to USC for what he called a sleepless night in the offseason. He said, you know, he took the decision, wanted to play for Eric Musselman for a little while. Ultimately, he said it just didn't feel right. He was sick to his stomach because he knew this was the place that he was supposed to be. And you see him here with a paint touch. Out to Andrew Meadow, showing off the court vision. And the Broncos can't find the touch.
You love the gravity that Drew Fielder is experiencing right now. So the defense is paying a lot of attention to him. He's not going to force shots. And that's one of the things that's so good about the Broncos players is they pass up really good shots to pass them and make great shots.
I saw Alex Fribble there on the sidelines. Already 108 wins in his head coaching career. He's just 40 years old. He is 25 and 40 at Idaho. Jack Payne trying to ignite the offense. He can knock that down from distance. A 36% three-point shooter.
That is something great for Vandal fans to see as Payne makes that transition. A great three-point shooter. And now he's going to get it in different ways than he did last year when he had a just mismatch.
Drew Payne wanted it all there. He'll go to the free throw line after the contact.
You can tell that Fielder is one of those players that's going to start to get the crowd into it a little bit. After a make, he's getting the crowd involved and now talking to some folks courtside as well. You got to love the interaction.
Like we said, he's from right here in Boise, Idaho. Actually left when he was 16 years old to play at Southern California Prep. Eventually went to Georgetown. He said the number one thing I missed about Idaho was the simplicity of life. He said his family made it so easy for him to just pour into basketball. And ultimately, that's why he, along with the Hoop Dreams AAU team, made his way to the Division I level, like we said. Angela, it wasn't very long ago that Boise State getting a player from Georgetown, right? A very successful men's basketball program. I mean, that would have been all over the papers citywide. That would have been the talk of the town until they tipped it off. And yet here he is, and he's just part of a machine for Leon Rice.
Well, and you can tell a very thoughtful, insightful young man to consider that, USC, to make that commitment to USC, but it just didn't feel right, and to change your mind and decide that you want to play here at home. And you can see already he's going to add so much to this Broncos squad, who's missing such a big piece in Tyson from last year, and they're not going to fill it with one person. It's going to be a group effort.
Tyson Degenhardt now playing with the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. Colton Mitchell fouled. A.G. Neto picks up his first. Clean first half, too. It's exhibition game for the officials, too. They're just getting their whistles out of their drawers from the offseason, and they've got a lot to figure out, too. Obviously, some new rules. You might get to sprinkle that in tonight.
Feels like there's never an offseason for officials.
Never.
You're always getting yelled at one way or another, whether you're on the court or people just see you.
Got to put that on a T-shirt, self the referees or something like that.
Exactly.
Brody Robery with Colton Mitchell in a two-man game. Jackson Rasmussen, another boy. This freshman is impressive. Big Sky coaches better be taking notice tonight.
Rasmussen does not look like a freshman at all. You can tell such a high basketball IQ, knows how to win, and already is putting his imprint on this Vandal squad as just a freshman.
Alex Pribble said, we don't recruit a ton of freshmen, but this is a guy that we are very glad is a Vandal.
Well, you just sense that his year at Utah Prep really prepared him at this level. Physically, he has a college-ready body already and just understands the game.
Great job by Biko Johnson to draw a foul there on Andrew Meadow. Meadow a little frustrated. And he picks up his second. And that will take us to our media timeout. Boise State in control, but the Vandals keeping them at arm's length. Down by a touchdown to extra point as we break. A 7-point game in Idaho. You see that Bronco blue and orange and a good amount of black and gold as well. It's a football weekend here at Boise State. The Broncos take on UNLV in a big game tomorrow. And more on that, you think this rivalry, you think football, Angela, but this has completely changed from the time that these two teams last played. Idaho was picked first in his preseason conference poll by Mid-Major Madness. Boise State picked to win the Mountain West last year. They figured to be right around that 3 to 4 range this year. It's gotten intense on the hardwood, hasn't it? These two teams just keep on getting better and better as programs within this state.
Program expectations for both the University of Idaho and Boise State are very similar. For Idaho, Coach Pribble has done a phenomenal job of coming in and setting culture and really underscoring how important it is for them to compete on a regular basis. And then Boise State, Coach Rice, over years, you know what this program is about. It's about winning Mountain West Conference championships and going to the NCAA tournament. Last year, they didn't make it to the NCAA tournament. We're a little bit disappointed in how the season ended. A couple games here and there that the Broncos could have and should have won. That may have cost them that tournament berth.
26 wins. They made it to the semifinals in the inaugural college basketball crown. Idaho, meanwhile, trying to steadily improve and get back on a path to possibly competing for the Big Sky title this year.
When Idaho had a bye last year in the Big Sky Conference tournament, again, another one of those like little milestones that may not seem like it matters, but it really does as you're trying to rebuild a program such as University of Idaho. And then they have a lot of players that had that experience of competing in the postseason, and that will help them this year.
1-1 for Brody Robery. Knocks down his first 78% free throw shooter. Talked about the Broncos losing Tyson Degenhardt. The Vandals lost a big piece of their culture as well in Julius Mims. Coach Pribble said, Robery's a guy who could fill some of that role. Alex said he's not going to catch rim-rocking lobs like Mims did, but he's still going to hold his own in the middle. 6'11", 255, worked in the Southland Conference and covered him at Southeastern Louisiana. Opposing coaches called him the aircraft carrier because he was by far the biggest body in that league.
That has to be one of the all-nickname squad names that you'll see, but such an efficient player for Southeast Louisiana. Ability to shoot the three, but when he gets the ball in the low block when he's one-on-one is very difficult to stop.
Don't look now, the Vandals have trimmed what was once a 10-point lead down to 4. Boise State looking for some separation at the break. Carmichael to Bowie. Buchanan, and a steal for Rasmussen. He's getting active on the defensive end as well. Jackson Rasmussen. And a whistle.
When you see at the defensive end from the University of Idaho doing an excellent job when the ball is on the low block, help side coming over, and perimeter players dipping in and making it difficult for Boise State's post players to go one-on-one. And here in transition, looked like Carmichael was still moving a little bit to his right on that dribble penetration.
Bronco fans, a very loud contingency, not pleased with that latest whistle. Leon Rice is practically at center court asking the officials to take another look at that. It appears that they will. Our first replay review of the night.
It was one of those plays. It looked like Rasmussen, once he got past half court, he'd already made up his mind what he was going to do, put the ball in his left hand and was attacking the paint. Carmichael did a good job of moving his feet and trying to get there before Rasmussen went up for the shot, but it looks like he was sliding just slightly.
It looked like our officials were headed to the monitor. They came back after a couple sections, and this just ruled a timeout. You see Jackson Rasmussen wanting the whistle, and the very vocal majority of Boise State fans tonight.
As it should, right? You got a lot of orange and blue in the crowd. You got to let your feelings be known.
Jackson Rasmussen to the free throw line. We talked about that mid-major madness poll picking Idaho first. They also picked Rasmussen as the freshman of the year. He'll take his first free throw of the night, as you see on your screen. And off the mark, taking 2 shots.
So you get the sense that Rasmussen has been impressing everyone on campus since he set foot. As soon as you talk to Coach Pribble about him, his eyes light up. And just the energy in his voice. You could tell someone who has a high basketball IQ does Rasmussen, physically prepared to play at this level, at the collegiate level, and then just a versatile player. Beautiful shot, the ability to attack the paint off the dribble as well.
The lead trimmed down to 3. Julian Bowie, no. David Buchanan can't pull down the ball. And Dominic Parolin able to clear. Transfer from Lehigh, was rehabbing an ACL all of last year, but his second year in the system for Boise State.
Well, he'll fit right in with this Bronco system. If you're willing to give up your body and crash the board, you'll fit right in and get a lot of playing time.
Andrew Meadow whacked by Brody Robery, so free throws coming for Boise State's 13-point-per-game score a year ago. He made 50,000 shots last offseason. He decided to pull it back a little bit, only settled for 30,000. No big deal or anything, but he said he was working more on game reps this offseason rather than just the stand and shoot jump shots. And that plays to your early point, Angela, about the coaches wanting him to facilitate a little bit more this year.
Well, his ability to shoot the ball from the three-point line, and then last year, his proven ability to be able to get to the rim, that's going to increase his gravity. So defenders are going to be paying a lot of attention to him, and he'll have an opportunity to pick it out for a lot of open three-point shooters, or to look at his mid-range game if people come over to help side and don't let him get all the way to the rack.
Andrew Meadow 2 for 2 at the line, 84% last year. That is one thing that Boise State can count on.
Well, we can see already the depth that Boise State has. And early on last season, they played about 10 or 11 players in their rotation. Once they got into conference play, they condensed that a little bit. It will be interesting to see what happens this year.
Nico Johnson into the paint. Colton Mitchell with the basketball. Alex Pribble says he values feedback. Every guy on the team told him that they wanted Mitchell to take the last shot if they get to that situation. Robery in the paint. Narrowly missed the Dirk Nowitzki-style fadeaway. He's got the height for Dirk.
He does. It created a lot of space with that knee up on that fadeaway jump shot. A nice penetration by Nader.
Dominic Parolin back to the basket.
Idaho's doing a nice job of keeping the Broncos penetrators out of the paint.
Shot clock down to 8. Dominic Parolin, he can knock down this shot. His first career 3 in a Boise State uniform.
Really smart point guard play there by A.G. Nadeau. Drew 2 on that penetration, got a foot to the elbow, and was able to kick it out for the pick and pop.
32% on three-point jumpers over 4 years and 39 games for Lehigh. Why not let it fly again? Parolin 2 for 2. And a timeout for Alex Pribble.
Yeah, if you're Idaho, you have to get back in transition and protect the paint, but also get out on those Boise State three-point shooters. Boise State shooting a scorching hot percentage from the three-point line right now, and a lot of it is coming from their front court players. Right now, beautiful three-point shot right there by Parolin, showing his versatility as well.
Dominic Parolin with a couple of trays. Boise State extending its lead to a game-high 11. And he's not the traditional back-to-the-basket big, right? Tyson Degenhart was so many things. He could play that traditional 5 for you. He could also play on the wing a little bit as a 4. But Parolin is a guy that's really going to give them a lot of offense in their 5-out system with his ability to stretch it.
Well, the Broncos this year are going to be a reflection of what we're starting to see in college basketball right now, both in men's and women's basketball. It's positionless basketball. A lot of players are so versatile. They have the ability to handle the ball. Bigs are bringing the ball up in transition, making playmaking decisions with the ball in their hands. You have perimeter players who have size and can take advantage of that size by posting up on a low block. And Boise State is reflective of that ability. A lot of their post players are so versatile that it's going to be positionless basketball this year.
If you're a Vandal fan in the arena or watching at home tonight, you're thinking, man, we can run with these guys. The difference has been the 4 threes from the big men.
It's been about size, and they specifically went out in the preseason playing against Boise State, and in their next game on November 3rd against Washington State for the Vandals will give them an opportunity to play against those squads that have much more size from perimeter players and the front court players, so they get used to that heading into Big Sky Conference play. Talk
about 2 opening games that mean a lot to the fans up in Moscow, playing Boise State and playing Wazoo. That's about as good as you can get for Alex Pribble scheduling-wise.
Go ahead and get it out of your system early, beat up on those rivals.
David Buchanan. Bronco Biggs with a rare miss from distance, and R.J. Keene has shown that he's just as scrappy as last year. Couldn't quite grab that loose ball. Christian Gonzalez, the leading scorer from last year for Idaho. 35% from distance, a rare miss for him.
Starting to see the pace pick up a little bit with some defensive stops.
David Buchanan all the way from Indiana. Broncos so happy to keep him, and you can see why.
Well, the coaches talked a lot about Buchanan is now healthy, had surgery in the offseason, so now came back, had a great offseason workouts, getting healthy, and is going to be one of those players that we're going to be paying a lot of attention to this season.
Not just one surgery, but 2. Back and hip surgery, too. Those aren't just an average trip to the doctor's office.
Not at all.
13 weeks to recover. They are so happy to see him healthy. Broncos happen to be up by 14 as we take a break.
Your University of Idaho.
David Buchanan, 32% from outside last year. Leon Rice said he is unquestionably the leader of this team, one of the best players, without a question, in the Mountain West Conference.
Talked a lot about how he learned from Degenhart last year, took a lot of leadership in the offseason.
Chet Joba, the transfer from Vermont, with his first bucket. Coach Alex Pribble called him the X Factor with Mountain West style size and athleticism. Trying to check Drew Fielder. And a rebound to Colton Mitchell. He pulls down nearly 3 of those a game.
And nice job by Joba right there on that dribble penetration. Good job by Bowie trying to get in the passing lanes.
Nice find. Ewan Steele, no. And the Broncos on the run.
Boise State defenders are flying all over, and you love that effort.
Final 2 minutes from Idaho in the first half. Drew Fielder leading all scorers tonight. David Buchanan off the dribble drive. The pretty finish off the front of the rim.
Beautiful finish by Buchanan. Help side came over from Colton Mitchell, but he was just too small to affect that layup by Buchanan. And you love seeing the aggression by Buchanan this year. You can tell he's playing with a lot of confidence. Help side comes over, nice finish between 2 Vandals players.
Really interesting when you look at him as a possible Mountain West preseason player of the year. He's definitely in the conversation when that poll comes out this week. He only started 2 games last year at Boise State. He was coming off the bench for 35 as this team set the record for the most games played in its program history, obviously playing deep into April. Coach Rice, you see there on the right side of your screen, said when he was recruiting Dylan Andrews, who you see in the black uniform there in the center of your screen, Dylan was saying, Coach, I can't wait for next year. Coach, I can't wait for next year. And Leon said, that's great, but it's April and we're still playing. He's like, I'm focused on this year. We'll talk about next year when we get there. Obviously, they have tonight.
You have to love when players want to be a part of what's going on in your program. And Dylan Andrews is certainly going to add a lot. Playing at UCLA, got some quality minutes there in their Pac-12 squad and Big Ten squad. is going to bring a lot of veteran presence and leadership to this Broncos squad.
Christian Gonzalez, foul. That's the other thing we talked about, Drew Fielder. I mean, that would have drawn a lot of headlines, him coming over from Gonzaga in the free transfer era, Georgetown, I should say. How about the UCLA starting point guard coming to Boise after a great 3-year career there with the Bruins under Mick Cronin? 100 games at UCLA, nonetheless.
That leadership, when you think about exactly playing at such a high level at UCLA and bringing in that competitive spirit, leadership, and basketball IQ to the Broncos squad, who their success has been so predicated on having quality point guard play. So now that you have a freshman in A.G. Neto who's getting quality minutes in exhibition play, and then when Dylan Andrews is healthy, you have a solid backcourt and a lot of trust to have the ball in the hands. And then last year we had Julian Bowie, who was playing out of position, had to play a lot of minutes at the point guard, which is going to help him as he's more of a two-guard scorer at the guard position.
Christian Gonzalez, 3-3 at the free throw line, leading scorer and led the team in field goals made a year ago. 82% at the stripe last year. Makes good here to start his 2025-26 season.
Speaks volumes that he's comfortable coming off the bench now after being the leading scorer last year as well, Gonzalez.
David Buchanan working on Joba. Drew Fielder. Not your traditional 5-man, but he can get big in the low post when you need him to.
And Fielder's very active. As soon as the shot went up, you can tell that he made a beeline to the glass to get his hand on that offensive board. Great defense by Joba there on Buchanan on a low block, one-on-one on the low block. It was such a physical defensive play, but excellent job from Fielder crashing the boards.
Wasn't too long ago that Drew Fielder was a fan in the crowd wearing his blue and orange. He shared a story over the offseason how his friends dared him at a game to go request a picture with the Bronco cheerleaders, and he shared that, but more importantly, Angela, the point too, that he said he's making his little kid self very happy putting on a Boise State uniform.
We just love the story. Again, coming back home, there's nothing like being able to play in front of friends and family, but certainly the team that you grew up cheering for, to be able to play and have the crowd cheering you on the floor at Extra Mile Arena or here at Idaho Central Arena.
There was a loudest fan chant competition in the dead ball. The PA announcer, very not aware, called it a tie. The Vandal fans very loud as Andrew Neto knocks down a three. That's the one thing that these two fan bases don't want, Angela, is a tie.
There's no tie.
That got the loudest boo of the night.
One way to bring the Vandals and the Broncos together there is to declare a tie.
Right, that's what Alex Pribble said about this matchup in general. It's just a good way to get the rivalry off the ground, and then they'll see about making it a regular season year-end tradition.
It would be great to see this come back on a consistent basis.
Whoa, what a finish! Pico Johnson and the bump. And a little momentum for Idaho before the end of the half.
Well, the seas parted. The lane was wide open on that penetration. Great defensive play by Jack Payne on that, getting a deflection and getting the ball back. And then you can see Pico, again, another physical player. Coach Pribble talked a lot about the physicality, the ability to get to the paint and draw contact.
Pico Johnson lists magic and pickleball as his favorite hobbies away from basketball. He was a true magician there after the contact, getting that one to drop.
Pickleball, he's a little bit ahead of his time.
You know, one of the best pickleball players in Idaho is the man wearing the blue pullover on the Boise State sideline. Leon Rice takes it so seriously. He gets paired with R.J. Keene, and they won their tournament last year going against the players and the coaching staff.
You gotta love that. Do you play pickleball at all?
You don't want to see me play pickleball, trust me, Angela. I'm not the two-time national champion that you are in women's basketball. You don't want to see me do anything athletic.
Let me tell you, pickleball is very humbling for you. You think you're a great athlete, and you're like, you know, it's tough to move around that pickleball court.
So you're saying you're not at a two-time national champion level for pickleball?
Nowhere near.
Good to know. Good to know. We won't hold that against you. Final 14 seconds, a 15-point game. Bon Blom knocked down a three earlier in the game. A.G. Neto running with him on the right side of your screen. Javen Buchanan with 5. Off the mark, and the rebound to Idaho. So it stays a 15-point game at the break. The Vandals and the Broncos going toe-to-toe finally tonight after 11 years. And the first half has lived up to the billing. Boise State 47, Idaho 32 as we break. Boise State a 15-point lead at the break in the long-awaited return of this in-state rivalry. Garrett Jones, Angela Taylor here with you. Angela, I mean, that first half really lived up to the billing. A lot of folks have been waiting on this game to come back. You could feel the energy, you could feel the anticipation in the start of this game.
Yeah, it's so great just to see the orange and blue represented as well as the black and gold. The atmosphere is phenomenal, and for us, like who are basketball junkies, to be able to have this type of atmosphere in mid-October is phenomenal. But the quality of play on the floor, I just really appreciated the energy and the effort of both the offensive and defensive end by both squads.
We were talking, I mean, the difference of this game has been Boise State's big shooting the three ball. In particular, the Broncos 60% from outside as a team. That's an element that's really hard to guard in this Bronco offense.
It really is. Like, if you have the ability, one of the things that Boise State's going to do is they're going to space the floor from the three-point line. If you are able to play 5 out and legitimately have 5 players who can space the floor from 3, that's going to open up a lot of dribble penetration. It's going to allow R.J. Keene, it's going to allow Meadows, it's going to allow Buchanan to be able to have isolations on the low block, or for Neto to be able to put the ball and attack the paint. The fact that so many players were able to pick and pop, space the floor, and shoot the ball with a lot of confidence is a great sign for this Bronco squad that has been looking for consistent three-point shooting on the season.
What do you want to see differently from Idaho in the second half if they're going to get back into this game and compete?
One of the things, you have to get stops at the defensive end, and I think the effort has been there for the Vandals defensively. You have to be able to get out and contest some of those three-point shots, box out, and don't allow any second chance points. Offensively, Boise State's doing an excellent job of spreading the floor defensively. They're getting out in passing lanes, a lot of aggression at the point of attack defensively, and if you're the Vandals, start to set better screens, to move with intentional delivery as you are spacing the floor, and then try to attack the paint off the dribble. And if Boise State helps, as we know they do defensively, is to kick it out for open shooters.
This is a great basketball environment, and we were both saying this is our first time here doing a game. We've obviously been here for basketball before. It's a natural hockey environment, but man, this place gets loud, and this is a great environment for fans to take in their first hoops game of the season.
Yeah, seats about 4,200 fans right here close to the court. The energy and the activity already getting on the officials early on in this game, and I think the one way to unite fans is officiating, questionable calls on the officiating side. But you love the energy early on, and I think that everyone, I grew up in a mountain home,
right,
watching this rivalry between the Vandals and the Broncos. It is great to see it back, and I think a lot of people hope that this continues.
Yeah, you think about some of the memorable moments of this rivalry. I mean, Boise State has had some great teams over the years. Idaho has obviously had some really successful teams over the years. Go back to 1982, they were 27-3, a top 10 team in the AP poll. That's a team that, I mean, they were just ahead of UCLA, just behind Houston. They went to Bronco Gym, which was the former home of Boise State basketball, and the last game ever played there was a men's basketball game, and the Vandals gave the Broncos a loss to close down that building.
You gotta love the stories, and we saw like the 1992-93 championship squad from the Broncos, as well as the 93-94 team here. They all look like they can, you know, lace them up right now and play some games, but you know how much this means to everyone, particularly those folks that had a chance to play in a rivalry. If you've had a chance to play against a school that is your rival, there is nothing like it. It doesn't matter like how well you're playing on the season, what the records are, but when you lace it up against your rival, the gloves are put on for sure, and people try to play their best.
I believe we got time for one break here at the half. Cody Goggler, the deputy AD for Boise State, has come over to join us here. I believe we can get him on the headset here momentarily, but as for now, a 15-point game at the half, just a couple minutes away from getting it going in the start of the second. And again, we will hear from Cody Goggler here momentarily. Boise State up by 15 at the break, and one of the men who is instrumental in getting this thing on the floor tonight, joining us right now, the Deputy Athletic Director at Boise State University and the Director of Bronco Pro, Cody Goggler. Cody, how you doing tonight?
Garrett, good to see you, buddy. Thanks
awesome
for having me tonight, man. This has been a special event. I want to give a shout out to Idaho for agreeing to do this, and thank you to ICCU Arena, man. This place is awesome tonight.
And talk about the work that goes into this, too. Like, this is not something you can snap your fingers and make it happen, right? How did the process happen with Coach Rice coming to you and your team and ultimately putting this event together?
You know, with the new rules in the NCAA, we have the opportunity now to have hosted ticketed events for preseason events. And so this is an exhibition. And so when we found out that that rule was going to be in play, you know, Coach Burns just does a great job with our scheduling. I work with him daily in the offseason on what our schedule will look like. It didn't take us long to get on the phone with Eric here with the Steelheads and really start putting things in play. And the great people that represent the athletics administration at the University of Idaho, they were awesome to work with. And so this actually didn't take very long, and grateful for both of the ADs coming together and finding a way to make this work. And how great is this for the state of Idaho?
It's been fun. I know this is your first taste of it. It's my first taste of it as well. A lot of people, frankly, around the Boise State Athletics Department have not seen this rivalry, and it's really fun to see it on the floor. We were talking, you know, you mentioned the athletic director, Jeremiah Dickey. One of the things that he is most passionate about, and I know that you're most passionate about, is Bronco Pro and the opportunity for student athletes to advance their careers forward. Explain to Bronco Nation, explain to anybody watching at home what exactly that is and what you guys are doing within that program.
Yeah, Gary, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to do that. You know, when you think about the new landscape of college athletics and how we can utilize NIL as a tool to change lives, that's Bronco Pro. You know, we believe we have the most student-athlete-friendly NIL program in the country. Yes, there's a lot going on right now, but when you think about what we're doing, we're not buying players. We're not buying wins. We're making investments into the future of our champions that are going to go out and serve their communities.
Cody, thanks so much for coming over. Enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. Go Broncos.
We'll be back for the second half shortly. Well, Boise State with a 15-point advantage over the Idaho Vandals after one half. Garrett Jones, Angela Taylor, our entire crew. Appreciate the Idaho Steelhead staff for being so welcoming to us and welcoming to this game, and they've done a phenomenal job making this game happen behind the scenes, wherever you might be watching on the KTVB Plus app or over Channel 7 in Boise. Angela, when you look at that first half, Boise State really separated toward the middle of the frame. What was the biggest difference between the two teams?
The three-point line. Boise State shot 9 for 15 from the three-point line, 60% from three, and that point differential is plus 21 from the three-point line. Simply, is it really difficult for any team to be able to close the gap when there's a plus 21 point differential. But I also love the fact that Boise State showed their depth. They had 19 points off the bench, and really showing the versatility of their bench players. It's one of the things that Coach talked a lot about to us the other day, just saying that they're really happy with how folks are playing and performing in practice right now, and they're going to have to battle it out to earn those minutes on the season.
It's such a testament, right, to how much this game has grown. You would have thought back to 2014 in November, played right here in this building. Boise State took an 86-75 win. If you would have told the fans watching that game that Boise State's bigs would have shot 3 threes in the first half, you would have been certainly surprised.
I'm sure Coach Rice would have been surprised as well back then, where we had two post players that worked on the high-low. But right now, just looking at the team stats, Boise State doing a really good job, efficient from the floor, particularly from the three-point line, and then also getting to the free throw line as well. But 14 for 29 from the floor, shooting 50% from the floor, and doing a great job on the glass, which is one of the hallmarks for our Broncos squad.
How about both teams really good at the free throw line as well? Idaho's only missed 2. Boise State has only been off the mark on 1. We are underway in the second half. And it looks like we have a bit of a full start. Getting the clock going tonight.
Well, then after some early turnovers in the nerves for their first real exhibition game, both teams only have 7 turnovers on the game. Did a nice job of executing offensively and getting shots up.
We talked about that a couple times tonight. Used to be, Angela, back when you played, this would be your first day of practice, right? Right around here in the middle of October, then you get to play maybe 3 practices and then you play an exhibition game, right? Now these guys have been going at each other for the better part of 2 months, and they get to play a game like this in front of their home fans and get some of the jitters out of the way before Idaho plays Wazoo, before Boise State plays Hawaii Pacific on the 3rd.
And you love the commitment that players have of being in town in the off season, going to class and getting in the gym, working out together, building that team chemistry. But it makes for a long period of time before you get to the actual season and some games.
Brody Robery with the bucket. That'll be encouraging to Vandal fans. His 3rd and 4th points. And another rebound for the big guy. 6'11", 255. He's every bit of it.
Well, that size is going to make a huge difference for the Vandals this year. Robery is a very versatile player, also very efficient on the floor. Let's see if he can get going offensively.
Now Rasmussen turns it over. Angela, I saw you ready there to back.
I was ready to shoot the ball.
That came right at you.
I was going to get you open for a wide open three-pointer, Garrett. But great on-ball defense by A.J. Neto. One of the things that they're really going to rely on last year with Alvaro Cardenas, who did a phenomenal job at the point of the attack defensively and setting the tone for the Broncos defensively. Neto is doing a nice job here, and you can tell is just such a one of those players that you hate playing against.
Offensively for Boise State, too, assistant coach Tim Durrier told us this week that they really felt like they had one of the best two-man games in the country without Cardenas and Tyson Degenhart. Now they're going to play a lot more 5-out, and like you said, run more of that defense through Neto at the point. David Buchanan, an offensive board. Dom Perlin going to work in the paint. I tried the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar style skyhook there, wouldn't go.
With the shot clock running down, but another good defensive possession by the Vandals right there. Nice rotation defensively. Beautiful pass right there. Great job by Colton Mitchell penetrating the paint, keeping his head up, eyes open, and a nice paint cut by Jack Payne.
Neto lost the handle. R.J. King cleans it up. Andrew Meadow turned away. And it's out of bounds off of Idaho. The silky smooth finish from Jack Payne on the other end there, making it an 11-point game.
That's one of those things that Payne is going to have to do now that he's playing on the perimeter, using his size to be able to cut to the basket and get some of those easy layups.
Neto to toss it in. Into the paint. R.J. King. Shot clock down to 7. Californian Andrew Meadow off the mark on the fadeaway. Bit of a lid on the rim for Boise State to start this second half.
Well, and that's predicated on the Vandals defense have done a nice job at the point of the attack and help side coming over and making it difficult to get easy shots off.
Jackson Rasmussen is fouled. Well, Rasmussen, really encouraging sign for Vandal fans. Like we mentioned, the Mid-Major Madness preseason freshman of the year. 5 points and 3 rebounds in that first half.
Yeah, you love the fact that Rasmussen, again, it doesn't feel like it's a big gap at this level. Physically, he has the ability to playing with a lot of confidence, and you can just tell like he has a high basketball IQ.
Mitchell to Biko Johnson to Brody Robery. He wanted the bump, and suddenly it's a single-digit deficit for the Idaho Vandals.
And that's what we talked about offensively for the Vandals. Really getting into their offense, speeding the pace up, and you can tell that Mitchell is the head of the snake right now. Just the energy that he's displaying defensively and offensively. Idaho doing a nice job with the paint attacks off the dribble, and that was a very beautiful dump off for the lay.
Coach Pribble told us he's a great decision maker. Trying to improve defensively is Mitchell, but the players feed off him, and you're seeing a little bit of that in this first 3 minutes and so of the second half for the Idaho Vandals.
A dynamic playmaker who's able to create for his teammates and doing a nice job of that.
Biko Johnson, no. And David Buchanan aboard. He pulls down nearly 4 of those a game last year.
Idaho's done a nice job of getting back in transition and not letting Boise State get easy layups.
We saw this so many times for the Broncos last year. As good as an offensive team as they were last year, they were top 40 in offensive efficiency according to Ken Pom. 3rd in defensive offensive rebound rate, 19th in free throws. When all else fails, Angela, mission number 1 for this team is get to the free throw line and score that way.
Exactly. One of the best things that you can do to help your offense operate efficiently is to get to the free throw line. And if you're a player and you're in a little bit of a slump, like right now, Meadow has not shot the ball particularly well, but if you can get yourself to the free throw line, see the ball go through the rim and through the hoop a little bit, that might get you going offensively.
Well, the product of shooting 30,000 shots is just that. 6 for 6 at the free throw line to start. I bet you if you had a bingo card tonight, that would have been way up on it. Andrew Meadow knocking down all his free throws. Yeah, could be a guy who could hit 90% this year.
He can shoot 90% in his sleep.
Miko Johnson, speaking of shooting, he knocks it down from outside. 35% from distance last year. And the Vandals hanging around.
You could tell the focus at halftime for the Vandals was to get back into the offensive system, move the ball, set good screens, and get your teammates open.
Drew Fielder, no. Rasmussen a rebound. And Idaho can make it a two-possession game here. Rasmussen on the Starch Madness logo. Not quite Starch Madness in March. We got October Madness tonight in Boise, Idaho. Great defense there from R.J. Keene, out of bounds, off the Broncos.
Broncos players doing a nice job one-on-one on the perimeter of containing any dribble penetration that the Vandals attempt.
Idaho fans have to be really encouraged with their team's response out of the locker room. Outscoring Boise State 7-2 to start this second frame.
Good help side, nice switch.
Colton Mitchell foul, and the Vandals with 3 free throws coming here.
One of the things that you want to do as a perimeter player, you love the fact that you're closing out on shooters. You don't want to foul a jump shooter, and you want to make sure that you're closing out on balance so that you don't foul the jump shooter.
We were talking about Andrew Meadow could be a 90% free throw shooter this year. Colton Mitchell was last year. This guy's ridiculously good out of Lake City High School. We mentioned played 1 year at Idaho State. And the big reason why Coach Fribble really feels like this rebuild is off to a fine start. He said year 1, as you mentioned, Angela, get that culture installed. Year number 2, you figure out the offense. They did that. They were top 50 in the country in three-pointers made. Year 3, he wants to see this group improve defensively, and Colton Mitchell is the guy they want to start with.
Yeah, Colton Mitchell has done a nice job setting the pace and the tone defensively. And you can just tell plays with a lot of confidence. At shoot-around today was the player that was talking to all of his teammates, getting them in the right positions, asking the right questions to make sure that everyone was clear on the scouting report for this game.
A 6-point game, so it is a 2-possession spread. Broncos trying to get their leading scorer tonight. Drew Fielder going already 16 points. Julian Bowie, no. And an offensive board for Fielder. Vandal fans wanted a walk. Fielder. One-on-one with Roberg. Julian Bowie with 4. Boy, that's got to feel great for Julian Bowie this week.
It's great defense, better offense, and to see Julian point to this guy, and his dad would be proud of him in that moment.
You absolutely know that he is.
A nice job on the make of Idaho running on the make and getting an easy layup. Your Coach Rice, you cannot be happy about that transition defense.
Fielder turns down an open 3. Bowie again. Buchanan foul. And free throws coming for Boise State on the other side of a timeout. The Idaho Vandals have come to play. A scrappy start to the second half, and it's just a 7-point game. We talked about some of the vitriol and the back and forth of this rivalry. It's extended into the building tonight on the Chiron around here. Idaho clapped back at Boise State's recent Front Porch of Idaho slogan. They said, front porch of Idaho, we must be the whole house. That's just a window into this rivalry, isn't it, Angela?
It really is, and it's one of those things that there's split households today where you have spouses, one that went to Boise State, one that went to the University of Idaho, and certainly I know there's a lot of teachers in elementary school and high schools around the valley that were donning their school colors today. You have to love this, and again, another one of those reasons why it's so important for these sorts of games to exist.
Moved to Boise about a year ago, and you lived away from here for a while in New York City in your time as a WNBA general manager in a couple of different spots as well. I think you could attest one of the most impressive things about the Vandal fan base is how vocal and active they are in Boise. I mean, they are proud. They wear their gear. They put their yard signs up in the front lawn. If you're a Vandal fan and you're in the Treasure Valley, you're going to let it know.
You are going to let everyone know about it, and there's so much pride that graduates of the University of Idaho have. Like, if you talk to anyone that went to the University of Idaho, they're so proud of their decision to go to school up in Moscow.
David Buchanan working with Pearson Carmichael.
Great defense.
Oh, what a fadeaway. Pearson Carmichael with his first bucket.
Great defense by Christian right there, but better offense by Carmichael. And you can just tell Carmichael is so comfortable with the ball in his hands offensively. And we'll see how his offensive game evolves this season. Coach
Tim Derrier told us that he drafted off of Andrew Meadow. He was in the gym almost as much as Andrew. Nobody can quite be in the gym as much as he is, but Peanut was not far behind.
Well, how about that, calling Meadow a basketball cyborg? That just really stood out to me, and you can tell that this game means a lot to Andrew Meadow.
That's the kind of half-court defense that Leon Rice is looking for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the things in the second half. Idaho's been able to close this gap and get it to a two-possession game because offensively they're getting to the rim. They're getting some looks that they didn't have in the first half. Right now, Idaho is up plus 12 in the points in the paint. They have 24 points in the paint, with 8 of those coming here early on in the second half.
Going into the paint, Andrew Meadow. That would have been quite a circus shot if it dropped down, but Meadow again getting to the free throw line. This is kind of new to his game, isn't it? We said as much this week that he's working less on his stand and shooting jump shots. He's working more on game situations. Pretty clear so far in this exhibition that his offseason work has paid off.
His game has evolved since his freshman year for Meadow. He was strictly a three-point shooter. Last year, got a lot of opportunities off the dribble because defenses were running him off the three-point line. But physically, he's one of the stronger players in this conference. He's going to get a lot of opportunities on that low block and will add a little bit of that inside presence for Boise State.
In a very Andrew Meadow nonchalant fashion, he said last year was cool, but the second the buzzer went off, I was thinking about this game right here, right now. Start 25-26 with the exhibition game against an in-state rival.
An absolute basketball junkie.
Rasmussen working on Javen Buchanan. This guy absolutely could be the freshman of the year.
That was a veteran move. Again, we talk about post play from perimeter players, and we have a couple perimeter players that are very comfortable with their back to the basket. Rasmussen, as a freshman, very comfortable on a low block.
David Buchanan received all-conference nod with the Six-Man of the Year award last year. Like we said, Rasmussen absolutely will be in the discussion for that in the Big Sky. Think about some of the other contenders that Idaho will have to deal with. Montana, year in and year out, they're playing right here in Boise for conference titles. They beat Northern Colorado in this building in March to go to the NCAA tournament. Idaho State, much improved. Colorado will be right in that mix again. And Portland State also continuing to climb the ladder as far as the Big Sky rankings go. Idaho is the team that many are prognosticating will get that nod as the preseason pick to win the league.
I'm impressed thus far. It's early on in the season, and you just see that some of the returning players, they've gotten better in the offseason. And then a lot of these new additions that they have, from Mulberry and the size to Rasmussen and his youthful ability, Idaho's going to be a tough out on the season in the Big Sky Conference.
Trevin Blassingame is subbed in. 11-point ball game. They go to Joba, and Joba goes right down Front Street on the land.
And Biko Johnson is doing a really nice job, similar to what Colton Mitchell did, attacking the paint off the dribble, keeping your eyes up, and perimeter players are doing an excellent job with that X-cut to the rim.
He looked like he was trying to dodge the traffic in front of Trader Joe's getting to the Idaho Central Arena tonight, downtown Boise.
4:30 at Trader Joe's is not the place you want to be.
That's where these coaches can toughen up their players if they want to send them there ever. Dominic Carroll drew Fielder off the pass fake.
Idaho with a great job defensively, holding Boise State only 1 for 2 from the three-point line in the second half after that barrage in the first.
Oh, Drew Fielder. Don't do it to him, big fella. Showing the range.
5 for 7 from the floor for Fielder. He is feeling it today.
I think this game means something to him. He said he's got cousins who are Vandals fans. And he forces the too many steps on Idaho on the other side.
Great defense. It's nice to know you have a player that has the offensive ability as a fielder right here. What I loved is they went to the other end of the floor and took on the one-on-one opportunity against a talented Rasmussen in the low block that we see what he can do when the ball in his hands.
Again, a player transferring from Georgetown to Boise State a couple years ago. That would have been incomprehensible. Leon Rice said he's had lots of talks with Coach Ed Cooley about him. That's a name that a lot of people know from what he did at Providence, trying to get it going there at Georgetown. Sure, just didn't feel like it was the right fit for him. But moreover, he said it was just a better fit for him here in Boise.
When you think about the experience that Fielder had in the Big East Conference, playing against a lot of versatile rosters, some rosters that had tremendous size, other rosters like a Creighton that have great shooters and size, that's going to add a lot to this roster as we're looking at the Mountain West Conference ahead and the type of quality opponents that they're going to play.
It's been a long time coming for Boise State fans to see Dominic Parolin on the floor, to see Spencer Aarons sub into the ball game once more. Parolin sat out the entirety of last year, watched the team play 37 games without him as he rehabbed a torn ACL. He had a 33-point game at Lehigh versus Lafayette, added 2 double-doubles in the Patriot League. And oh, by the way, he knocked it out of the yard as a student athlete in the classroom in a non-scholarship league. He was the 2-time student athlete of the year on his team.
Talk about culture. In both of these programs, the players are committed not just on the court, but also in the classroom.
Under 12 left to play the ball game. Shot clock down to 10. Christian Gonzalez had 25 points against UC Riverside last year. The bank is open late on a Friday night.
It could have been a 4-point play right there as Carmichael clipped him on that release as well. But you see why he was the leading scorer last year, the ability for him to catch and get up off the floor on his 3-point jumper.
This guy's played some high-level basketball. He played at Modern Day, which is obviously a football powerhouse in California, but very good on the men's basketball side as well. Bowie to Spencer Aarons, the Canadian national team star. Off the miss. Pearson Carmichael, no foul. And it looks like Nico Johnson stepped on the baseline. So that will take us to our under 12 media timeout. Idaho not going away. It's just a 9-point affair in downtown Boise. A 9-point spread as the Idaho Vandals take the floor once again in the building in which they will play their conference tournament. That is so big for them. Not only that, Angela, but they get a mid-season non-conference tournament against Sam Houston, Cal State Northridge as well. Alec Gribble told us one of the reasons why this game is such a big win for them, no matter what happens tonight, is because they're getting used to the depth perception in the environment of where their conference tournament happens.
And we were talking about, just for us in the broadcasting booth, it takes a moment for you to be able to get used to the lighting in this facility, so that certainly will help them, as well as the ability to be able to come down to the Treasure Valley where they have so many alumni and to be able to play in front of them.
Don't be surprised by that if you're a Boise State fan. Spencer Aarons knocks down another triple. Coach Tim Duryea went as far to say, yeah, he's a stretch forward. A guy can really knock down shots in the perimeter for us. Top 30 power forward in the nation joining Boise State this year. Dozen-point lead. Jack Payne, no. Seth Joba had it taken out of his hands. And now you see Aarons bring the ball up the floor.
Positionless basketball, just the versatility for the bigs these days is a difference maker.
Tina Carmichael showing his versatility with the putback.
And that's one of the things that Carmichael did last year. He did a great job attacking the glass offensively and defensively last year. Boise State now already hit with 13 offensive rebounds, in that case leading to a bucket.
Coach has said that he was in the gym a ton, not only with Andrew Meadow, but also with Lexus Williams, a former Bronco point guard. A lot of Boise State fans will remember, and of course, they won't forget anytime soon Roberto Bergerson, not because of the length between his playing time, but because he won't let Bronco Nation forget him. He's on Leon Rice's bench. His son, Rajon, is on the team as well. They said that the work that Carmichael put in with those three guys will really, really show come Mountain West play.
You can tell the type of player that Coach Rice recruits. It's basketball junkies, folks that love to play basketball and to get better.
Number 6 in orange is fouled. Jack Payne going after him. A really good player at Hawaii. Didn't get a ton of time to talk about him tonight, but he was actually a two-way star after playing at Boise High in the shadow of this building. He went to Hawaii and led the team to state titles in football and men's basketball before going to CSU.
2 state titles, right? Pretty impressive high school career.
Vandal fans rewarded disappointed there with the charge called on Boise State. Bronco fans, even with their team up 14, won't settle for that call not going their way.
Yeah, nothing unifies a fan base like the officials right here. And again, good defense right there by Broberry. Looks like he was still moving his feet a little bit.
Nico Johnson foul. That was something that Alex Cribble talked about before the matchup, too. He said a lot of these officials are going to be figuring out the specific continuation calls, which is a new rule in the NCAA this year. You get one dribble, you get the gather step, and then after that, you can lay it in potentially for an and-one, which is different from the collegiate game in the past.
Well, and how the officials officiate that call, the consistency from game to game, from quarter to quarter, will be really interesting to follow. And oftentimes you see with these new areas of focus from the officiating, early on in the season, they're calling it pretty tight. And then as the season goes on, it starts to regress back to what we're accustomed to.
Biko Johnson at the line. Love what Coach Pribble said about him. He said he's a nice guy off the court, but when he gets between the lines, it's a completely different story.
And he talked a lot about how important that is for this Vandals squad. Is a lot of great, nice players, but as they look to compete, particularly at the defensive end, they're going to need a little bit of that kind of fearlessness, aggressiveness.
Spencer Aaron's foul. And free throws coming for the big men.
Right now, Boise State is marching to the free throw line. They're shooting 81% from the free throw line already on 19 attempts. If you're University of Idaho, you have to be able to be aggressive at the point of attack and to defend without fouling. Certainly sending these great shooters to the free throw line.
Boise State, like we mentioned, was 19th in the country in free throw percentage last year. They got there a ton, but more importantly, they converted their shots. And clearly Leon Rice has had these guys working on whatever they did last year. He said keep it up because they have made the most of their foul shots tonight, 18 of 22 at the stripe.
Well, to a player, no one is afraid to be able to attack the rim and to take on that contact. And one of the things that it does, it really takes a toll on the defensive team and then gets some key players into foul trouble.
Christian Gonzalez brings the ball to the floor, second on the team in total points in his freshman season. Originally committed to Sac State, but a guy that they are so happy to have on their squad in the Big Sky. Like we said, very well could be the team that's playing here in the championship evening here at Boise.
One of the players that is going to get a lot of attention from opponents, shooting 35% from the three-point line, and just the ability to come off of the on-ball screens. A motion shooter gets a shot off pretty quickly.
Jack Payne going to work. Big Sky all honorable mention last year.
And he didn't get his shot off quick enough right there. Great closeout on that particular play.
Dominic Parolin showing you some of that work that he did in his season recovering from his torn ACL, averaged nearly a block a game in the Patriot League before coming over to Boise State.
Well, it's not easy to come back from an ACL injury. Nice three-point shot right there by Colton Mitchell. Much more aggressive offensively here in the second half by Mitchell. When you think about Parolin, he's moving really well with the ball, and part of it is just getting confidence in that knee.
A.G. Neto, what a finish. This guy's slippery, the true freshman. Lead balloons back to 13 for Boise State. Mitchell. And he'll have free throws.
Mitchell capitalizing on a late closeout by Neto on that play. Nice dribble penetration to the rim, finish with contact. And you can just tell, breathing hard right now, but the effort that we're seeing from Mitchell here in the second half, he is the head of the snake and really leading by example for his Vandal teammates.
A small injury in inter-squads, according to Alex Cribble. Led the team in points per game, assists per game, and steals per game among freshmen in the Big Sky Conference. Very good free throw line, like we mentioned. Not leaving anything there tonight. He has 4 of his 5 at the stripe this evening. 90% free throw shooter. For a team that was not too far behind Boise State last year in free throw shooting, they knocked down 75% of their foul shots.
Well, it's nice to know when you have players that if they get fouled and sent to the free throw line, that they're going to step up there with a lot of confidence. That allows you to be really aggressive and not to worry about whose hands the ball will be in at crucial moments during the game. And now the Vandals doing a little bit of a 1-1-3 zone to take a little bit of time off the shot clock for the Broncos.
Still just 11-point game. These fans are sticking around. This thing is absolutely not over yet. Boise State trying to deal a couple final blows to the Vandals tonight. Drew Fielder absolutely in his bag tonight. That's his 19th and 20th point on just his 6th field goal.
Great ball movement. Really nice to see Spencer Aarons in the high post with a nice dump off the fielder.
Christian Gonzalez the answer. 35% three-point shooter, knocks it down again. It's back to 10. Drew Fielder, no. Spencer Aarons, yes.
You have that size at the perimeter, really difficult to box out on three-point shots. You have to go find your offensive player and box them out.
Jamie Buchanan, the turnover. Hey, Leon Rice flummoxed on the Boise State sideline. Idaho again with a chance to make this a one-possession game. The Vandals holding the ball a little bit with 7 minutes left. Mitchell. And rebound to Pearson Carmichael. Did a really good job rebounding in a limited sample size last year with nearly 3 contests.
Yeah, at his size, great rebounder. And then you just see the confidence from an offensive standpoint. Not only a three-point shooter, but last year displayed the ability to put the ball on the floor and attack the paint. We're starting to see a little bit of energy here from both teams as we wind down this game with 7 minutes left.
A former Oregon State Player of the Year at Summit High School led that team to a state title, I should say. Leading the Broncos show a 14-point lead tonight in downtown. Well, 14-point game in downtown Boise tonight. Garrett Jones, Angela Taylor here with you. Leon Rice said to the media this week, he always thought when he left his job as a community college coach that the one thing he wouldn't miss at Yakima Community College is rebuilding a roster every year. Well, he said fast forward about 20 years, that's all you do now. And clearly, Angela, he's rebuilt a team year in and year out that can compete for titles in the Mountain West.
Yeah, being a head coach is completely different than it was a decade ago. Now, not only do you have to get out on the recruiting trail and recruit the best high school players, but you also have to develop your own roster and retain your roster. And then you have to enter the transfer portal where you literally are a general manager. Something very similar to what a professional NBA team general manager, NFL general manager would be doing.
Looks like we got another timeout on the floor. Stick with us. It's a 14-point game. Boise State with the lead. 75-61, I should say. Idaho taking the floor. Until what's it going to take for Idaho to bridge the gap here, try to compete in this game as the final minutes tick away?
Idaho's doing really well. Both teams are shooting about 46-47% from the floor, and the biggest difference in this game is at the three-point line. So Idaho's done a much better job in the second half of running Boise State off the three-point line. Now, offensively, they have to get into their offense, get good looks, get shots, and try to get to the free throw line as well.
Drew Fielder, the game's leading scorer with 22. He was a local product, like we said several times. I played at Rocky Mountain High School. He left to go play high school, I should say, in Southern California. He said it was mission accomplished, wanted more exposure. He got it, but he's so glad to be back at home in Boise. That will be Idaho basketball out of bounds off of A.G. Neto.
Well, another signature defensive possession by the Broncos. Great help of the helper right there by Neto. Help side came over. Neto helped the helper. Was able to dig down and try to get that steal on that possession. And you got to love it early on in the preseason.
Boise State enjoying its largest lead of the night. Vandals trying to hang around here late. Team that will absolutely make noise in the Big Sky this year. Biko Johnson, one of the reasons why Vandals knocked down their 7th three-pointer of the evening.
Great offense. Again, Rasmussen, a freshman, doing a great job one-on-one on the low block. Dipped in a little bit, kicked it out with his left hand for the wide open three-point shooter.
A return to Division I basketball for Biko Johnson. Alex Fribble said started his career at Omaha. It never really quite worked out for him. It's going to work out well for him, you have a feeling, at Idaho.
Working out well for Buchanan on that drive. You got to love seeing him do that. Yes, very nice dribble attack by Buchanan.
They also really like the leadership style of David Buchanan. They said he's the most natural leader on the team. R.J. Keene is the most vocal leader for Boise State.
And we talked a lot about, so what are you missing with Tyson Degenhart having graduated? They talked about the professionalism, but that you have Buchanan as one of those players, as well as Keene, who is Tyson's good friend, that learned a lot from like how you show up for practice. You get here early, you work out, you get your time in, how you lead by example as well as with your voice.
Andrew Meadow gives it up. Biko Johnson is stole twice per game on average at Fort Lewis Community College. Jobin Rasmussen, who's had a quiet second half. Biko Johnson's been the focal point. Into the paint. Biko. And another board for Javen Buchanan. What an athletic play there. Seth Jovicic with it and lays it in. If you're a Boise State fan, you maybe wince watching Javen Buchanan hit the floor that hard in exhibition game.
You always get a little bit nervous when a player goes up and they brace themselves with their wrists or their elbows. Not quite a soft landing, but great energy and effort defensively by the University of Idaho.
Drew Fielder off the mark. Such a good night for him from the field. That's only his fourth three-point miss. And Biko Johnson will call a timeout. Idaho making changes.
It looked like Johnson might have been kneed to the quad there a little bit, limping as he walks off the floor after that last defensive effort. And again, one of the things that the Vandals have been doing really well in the second half is the extra effort defensively of trying to limit the second chance points that Boise State has. Right now, Boise State 21 second chance points. But Idaho playing well offensively. He scored 6 of their last 8 from the field, down 13 with 4 minutes left here in the second half.
On the final stage, what's been a great fight between Boise State and Idaho tonight. Both coaches said, you know, if the fans don't have an interest in this, maybe we won't bring it back. They both kind of wanted to feel out this rivalry, see where it's at. Angela, I think it's pretty clear from the crowd shot you saw there, fans still have an interest in this rivalry.
Yeah, if you take a look around Idaho Central Arena right now, great crowd on hand, great representation from both Boise State and the University of Idaho.
No, both schools want to see it get back on the gridiron one day. Maybe we'll see that, but pretty clear that they have something in men's basketball right now.
A nice three from Trayvon Blassingham coming off the bench. Another one of those three-point shooters for the Vandals.
Drew Fielder offensive board. This guy's just so tough to stop in the paint.
It's going to be tough to keep off the floor if you're Coach Leon Rice. Coming off the bench already with 24 points on the game. Fielder's somebody that you're going to want to have on the floor. Does so much both offensively and defensively.
Not going to say that Boise State isn't going to miss Tyson Degenhart, but he has really filled his role nicely tonight.
And again, you can't fill that. The leading scorer in Boise State history, there's not going to be just one player that's able to fill that void. But you can tell there's a lot of different players on any given night that will be able to be reliable offensively for Boise State.
Idaho having a tough time guarding him indeed. Andrew Meadow with a highlight reel finish.
Well, that's what we all got used to seeing last year, the high flyer, Andrew Meadow. Again, if you're running him off the three-point line, there is no fear for Meadow in putting the ball on the floor right now. Nice paint attack. Help side comes over from 2 players, but they weren't there on time. And once again, the Boise State player is at the free throw line.
Jack Payne, Brody Robery back in for the Vandals. And Andrew Meadow back to the stripe. 7 of 8 tonight at the line. 14 points, which eclipses his season average from a year ago. He is clearly progressing like Leon Rice and the Boise State staff want him to.
Well, freshman year, he played about 10 minutes a game, scored about 3 points a game. And last year, the minutes went up to 26, and the productivity did as well. Now he's going to be relied upon a little bit differently, so he can be more efficient.
Fielder showing what he can do in the low post. Brody Mulberry with the stronger finish.
Mulberry's going to bring a lot to the Vandal squad. Again, that low block presence is just something that's very necessary. Certainly going to open up the floor for the three-point shooters.
Another Idaho guy, like we said earlier in the broadcast, if you weren't with us, Alex Pribble describes his group as a group full of Idahoans who are easy to root for. Mulberry's one of those guys. He won a 5A state title at Meridian as a senior.
I talked to him a little bit at shoot-around today and just asked if he's going to have a lot of people in the building tonight. And he just had a big old smile on his face and said, absolutely, it's so nice for him to be home and see some family and friends.
A.G. Netto back to the stripe. We talked about Julian Bowie and the Boise State community rallying around him to support his family this week. They also did the same thing for A.G. in the offseason. His father needed money for medical care. And this is a player, Angelo, hadn't even taken the floor, but the Boise State fans embraced him and started another drive to raise money for his family, try to ease that burden on him.
That's one of the things about sports. It's such an amazing platform that brings people together. And these young men and young women that are playing collegiate sports are wearing their hearts on their sleeves and thousands of miles away from their family. It's so nice that their new Bronco family or Vandal family is there to support them when necessary.
14-point lead for A.G. Netto's team, a kick ball. And we'll stay here. I think maybe more Boise State fans might be attached to A.G. for his performance tonight. How do you evaluate the true freshman running the offense for Boise State without doing injury?
A.G. has been really impressive. Again, putting the ball in his hand as a freshman. He's played a lot of poise, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, at the point of attack, you can tell he's going to make a difference for this Boise State Broncos defensive system. Offensively, he's made some really good decisions, and love the fact that when he puts the ball on the floor and attacks the paint, that he keeps his eye up, and he's not only looking to score, but also looking to distribute to open shooters.
No Dylan Andrews, as we mentioned, for Boise State tonight. Several players not playing tonight for Idaho, who you'll see in the rotation if you're a Vandal fan. Isaiah Brickner, their leading three-point shooter a year ago, broke his hand in camp, but he'll be back early, according to Pribble. Tidy Shear out, the 1A player of the year from Lapway, is out tonight, in addition to Tyler Linhart. So three guys who could compete for minutes in the rotation, not seeing the floor tonight for the Vandals, which has opened up opportunities for guys like Rasmussen to show what they can do. And of course, Andrews' injury showing what A.G. Netto can do.
Another one of those things that these exhibition games and early non-conference games will allow you to do is to get a different look with different players playing with each other. What system, who works, who fits together in different rotations, but also to get some of your young players an opportunity to play.
Idaho on the run after Boise State misses the free throw. And one. Mic drop for Colton Mitchell. A sophomore point guard with the opportunity in a 4-point play.
Well, Neto, looks like that might have been Neto's 5th foul on the evening. Again, that's been one of the things for Boise State. You love the fact that they're rotating over, but on those closeouts have been a little bit too aggressive. Nice jumper by Colton Mitchell. He's had that look a couple times on the day, been able to finish with contact from the three-point line.
Well, the coaches said there aren't going to be foul outs tonight. They said they didn't tell the guys that because they didn't want them to play too aggressive. And you can see A.G. Netto a little confused as to whether he needs to exit the game. Looks like the Broncos will sub in Julian Bowie. But, Angela, just another fun little nuance to this exhibition game.
It is. I'm glad the coaches didn't tell them. As a player, you knew you had a couple extra fouls. You might reach in for a steal here and there where you wouldn't normally do so.
There's a look at Netto. So that's something that they can work with Netto on before they tee it off against Hawaii Pacific on November 3rd.
Well, that's one of the things that the effort to actually go and close out. Sometimes you'll see players that they don't think that they can get there on time and don't even effort to close out. We've seen a couple of Broncos do that and create fouls. It's easier to teach and learn from the effort than it is to actually teach somebody to close out.
R.J. Keene facing pressure. Idaho is steal and a foul on Boise State. It's just a 9-point game, and the Vandals going to the free throw line, trying to chop closer into that lead.
Well, and that energy and effort got the teammates up off the bench cheering on, and the Vandals fans. Again, great effort and energy by Trey Blassingame.
And went out John Rice will call for a timeout. Angela, if you're a Vandal fan, how encouraged are you with your team going toe-to-toe for Boise State for most of the first half and chipping away at the lead in the second?
For this program, again, which is in year 3 of its rebuild, to be able to come into Idaho Central Arena and play a Boise State squad that, again, was one of the better teams in the Mountain West Conference, has great size, a lot of depth on their roster, and to hold it to within a 3-possession game, I think that is really promising, not just for the coaching staff, but for these Vandals fans. What's even more promising is there's a lot of talent on this Vandals squad. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch them play this year.
You have to think about the new facility up in Moscow, too. It's one of the more beautiful buildings in the Pacific Northwest. This program can do some things men basketball-wise. Coach Gribble told us it's a bit of a challenge because they didn't opt into revenue share. They hope to get there one day, and maybe the success of the men's basketball program can be something that ignites that. They can't buy home games either. So games like this and like the MTE that they're going to play in November are huge for them to get in front of their home fans and still play within their state.
You can tell they're taking it very seriously. At shoot around today, the attention to detail that the coaches were offering and how diligent the players were listening to what the scouting report was and executing the scouting report, that is such a great sign. Like, you know you have a well-coached team when you see something like that for a preseason exhibition game.
A Latching game at the line. Tore his hip labrum last year. What is it about hips for these guys? These poor young college guys suffering one of the most debilitating injuries that you can, but he's bounced back nicely from it, according to Alex Pribble. He's going to be the team's 6th man if coach can drop the rotation today.
And you have to think about how so many of these players have been playing year-round, whether it's just basketball or multiple sports, at a high level since they were 7 or 8 years old.
Vandals force another turnover. Don't tune out just yet. This thing might get hairy late. Broncos yet to break the press on their last 2 possessions. 65 seconds left. Jackson Rasmussen lost the rock. Boise State, A.G. Neto scoop it up and a foul on the Vandals.
A couple things I loved about that play. First was the freshman Rasmussen calling for the ball on a low block. He was one-on-one on the low block, playing with a lot of confidence. And then defensively, your leader for Boise State, Javen Buchanan, helping off his perimeter player to get his hand on that loose ball.
Boise State shooting free throws on the other end. Talked about that Mountain West preseason poll going to come out this week. Of course, you think about San Diego State made the Final Four just a couple years ago. They're always going to be in the mix. A new loophole this year, or new wrinkle, I should say, is Grand Canyon entering the league. Boise State will play them for just 1 year. Think about some of the other perennials like Utah State in the mix. Where do you see this Boise State team stacking up against those folks?
Well, I think early on in non-conference play, the non-conference schedule plays such a huge role in that, right? When you to take a look at ratings and rankings. Boise State heading to Maui to play in that Maui Invitational, but really important. They play USC, really good USC squad. That'll be an interesting time to gauge themselves. But I think Boise State, you're replacing a lot in Dagenhart, but they have a lot of different players that have the ability to defend and the ability to score on the offensive end.
Cole Mitchell fouled by A.G. Neto. That is his 6th. You don't see that ever in college basketball. That is another unique wrinkle of tonight's game, as we said.
He's like, you give me an extra foul, I'm going to use them.
Colton Mitchell to the line. Idaho with some cool non-conference games as well. Like we mentioned, they play in the Battle of the Palouse against Washington State on November 3rd. They also play at Notre Dame in December.
One of the things that Coach Cribble talked about is when you put together a competitive non-conference schedule is to expose your team. And Kara Lawson, the head coach from Duke women's basketball, says the same thing, is it helps you identify the weaknesses that you may have that you can start to work on before you get into conference play.
87-80 our score, 45 ticks left on the second half clock. Boise State also with some interesting games at Butler, at home against Wichita State, St. Mary's for the 3rd straight year over in Idaho Falls. Neto Travels. A lot of things to work with for the true freshman. Some good things certainly tonight, but things he can work on in practice as well before that home opener.
Yeah, and he'll get more experience as you start to see that double. When you're playing at the high school level, your quickness and your size, you're able to beat a double team like that. But as soon as you start to see the double team come out on that play, you want to get the ball out of your hands. And right there, Fielder has to make himself available in the middle of the floor.
A Broncos team that averaged 76 points per game last year. Safe to say that the offense has taken a tick up this season. David Buchanan aboard. The shot clock is start. Boise State can hold for the last shot. Idaho will not let them. They will play it out and foul David Buchanan. And more free throws coming for Boise State with 20 seconds left.
A lot for both teams to be happy about in this game, and a lot to work on. If you're Boise State, again, you're just so excited to compete against somebody beside yourself, but you got a chance to see some of your new players, your freshman A.G. Neto with the ball in his hands, very capable of being the floor general for the squad until Dylan Andrews comes back. Great to see David Buchanan, who's healthy and on the floor, and then just take a look at Drew Fielder and what he was able to do offensively. A lot to be happy about if you're Coach Rice. And then for Coach Pribble and the Vandals, this was a great performance, competitive performance. It's a three-possession game right here at the end of the game.
Now, Boise State will be looking to improve the defense this year. The offense, like we said, a top 50 unit in the country. Defense around the 70 mark. Idaho, very good from beyond the three-point line. They will be looking to take a step up defensively, too. And they will take a look at this film, get back to work in practice, and look forward to their season openers on November 3rd.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to take a look at your progress against another team.
Boise State will get another chance to do so against Washington in a closed-door scrimmage against Danny Sprinkle, the former Mountain West coach. Christian Gonzalez, another three, 2.7 left on the clock, and it ends up being a two-possession game. Boise State gets the win, and the return of the rivalry between the Broncos and the Idaho Vandals. Very competitive game on both sides. A lot of fun to bring it to you. We're going to take a break and then wrap it up when we get back. Boise State gets it done tonight in downtown Boise, Idaho. 89-83 final score. Garrett Jones, Angela Taylor wrapping this one up for you. Angela, let's get a takeaway for both sides. What do you take away starting with Boise State, the victors tonight?
Boise State, it's really encouraging to see that they are going to be able to have several players on the floor at any given moment that have the ability to put the ball in the basket. So you think about Drew Felder and his versatility at 6'9", 6'10", like able to space the floor from the three-point line, put it on the floor, and attack the paint as well. We didn't see a great performance by King or Meadow, right, from offensively, but they'll get there. We know that they're capable of doing that. But to see that you have a big or post player that's able to score is encouraging for Boise State. For the University of Idaho, that second half performance is really encouraging. Ended up being a 6-point game, and in the second half, Idaho was 10 for 21 from the three-point line for the game. They did a much better job of attacking the paint and creating opportunities from the three-point line, which we know last year they took and made a lot of threes last year. In the first half, they weren't able to get to that three-point line. In the second half, they did a much better job, and they were led by Colton Mitchell. Just great leadership and aggressiveness with the ball in his hands. Special player right there on the screen that we're going to see with Rasmussen as well.
Seth Joba scoring there for Boise State. It was much about the defense, much about the offense as well. Julian Bowie here with the step-back three. What a great moment for him and his family. He's gone through a lot this week. That was a highlight here tonight. Pearson Carmichael showing that he's got more in his bag this year. All kinds of question marks answered tonight about how this Boise State team would look.
Really are. And if you're the Boise State coaching staff, you may be disappointed in some of the efforts defensively in particular in the second half. But this is something that you have on film and a great way for you to be able to teach your players against a different opponent.
Well, we're wrapping it up tonight. On behalf of Angela Taylor, our entire crew, I'm Garrett Jones saying so long, everybody. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.